there, girls and boys, and welcome back to the Sanctum, the place where I show you all of my tricks while I pull them off live right in front of you. And today marks a very important day because finally we are live streaming simultaneously on Rumble. So welcome to all of those who are on Rumble. Look at that, what was that, but wherever. We're testing stuff over here. And allegedly everything is going smoothly, isn't it? The case, Tiago, Ramini, the story number 8.
Hello, girls and boys, how's it going? I'm very glad to be back, and it's good to have you here as well, both from YouTube and Rumble. And yes, from what I gather, everything should be running smoothly, but if you are on the other end and you're seeing something not go as it should, please let us know as well.
Yeah, since this is the first time we're doing it, I am trying to keep up with the live stream as well over on Rumble, just to make sure that we are going smoothly and correctly. And it looks like, yes, we are good. So yeah, let's rock and roll. So what's the plan for today? And by the way, I have access to both chats on my screen right now, so whoever wants to ask any question, feel free to do it, because that's the whole point, and we can see if it comes from Rumble or from YouTube. Okay, now what's the point for today's journey? We're gonna be doing a little bit something different, because instead of producing a track together or mixing a track together, I'm gonna be showing you some tricks that actually will make a huge difference, and I think is one of the things that totally changes the game when it comes to somebody who is starting off in this music production business. I'm going to be explaining and sharing with you some techniques that you can implement right away on any of your productions by using plugins to make them sound professional and to get them as close as possible to them to be ready for actual mixing. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Are you excited? Actually, this is gonna be fun. It's a little bit less technical.
I'm very excited.
You can see the excitement and the joy coming out of his pores. So with that being said, let's get into it. Welcome back, girls and boys, to Logic Pro 11. In front of us, we have the product that we're gonna be using for this particular project. First and foremost, let me press play, and so you can have an idea of what kind of music we're gonna be dealing with, and be mindful that everything is as raw and as dry as a bone. Nothing has been done. This is just bare bones, and the whole point of this exercise is for me to show you how to build the song, and we are going to be building the song together as it is right now. Okay, so here we go from the top. Okay, first, Tego, what do you think? What comes to your head?
Yeah, it's missing some arms.
Do you think?
I think so.
Could it be because we were listening to Ilya Kuriak in the Valorams?
Maybe.
No.
Who can compete?
No, but no, for real. What do you think?
No, I think it has potential. It has a groove, not a musical groove, but it grooves. It has this kind of emotion, which is cool.
Yeah.
It allows you to bob your head around. There's potential to it. That's what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I'm asking that question, and that's something that is the first thing that has to go to your head when producing music. You first have to have a clear idea in your head what kind of music you're dealing with, what kind of genre, okay? That will allow you to make decisions and pick the right and shape the sound of the instruments that you're going to be working with, or the ones that you're using to create the sound of the mix or the song that you're working on, in a cohesive fashion, and also will allow you to make something better sounding. What do I mean by that? There is no, you get nothing out of having the best gear, using the best plugins, or having the best microphones if there is no meaning behind the music that you're producing. And one way to produce that meaning, or create the sense of meaning, is by utilizing sound to tell a story. Does that make sense? I don't know if that made sense, because it's kind of a little bit esoteric.
A little bit on the esoteric side of things, but yeah, it does make sense.
Okay, good. So let's begin with that. What I would do in this particular session, first thing, color code everything. We're rocking first and foremost drums out of Drummer, the automated drummer from Logic, the built-in Logic drummer. It's very good, and as you heard, it's actually kind of effective. It's not replacing drummers, of course, but it's actually that good that helps a lot on driving a cool sounding track. This is I usually use it to develop a sound and to start off a song, and then Tiago tends to be the one who adds the drums later. So you can see that I got several different instruments, and even though we got a very tiny collection of tracks, the song kind of feels already kind of amalgamated, but it's kind of boring, dry, and you'll see how we're gonna be modifying this. And once we get to the final stage of this cycle, the difference is gonna be staggering. So first thing, color coding. We're gonna be naming all of these guys correctly. So I'm gonna leave the drums for now. This is the first track, and this is my click track. This is Soundbrenner. I'm using this guy, which is basically speaking a vibration-based metronome, and I have it synced and linked to my Logic project. Every time that I'm working with producing a new track, I use this guy on me, because that way I can have the click off. I can turn it off and use this guy to feel the beat rather than listening to it, which allows me to keep track of my tempo, and also avoids me from having the sound of the click going through the speakers, allowing me to develop sounds without that interruption. And just for a little bit of extra bells and whistles, Tiago is also wearing his, and he's also synced to the same project. Look at that. Badass. If you want to learn more on how to do it, there's a video on this channel on which you can actually learn how to do it. It's very easy. Allegedly. Okay. Now, let's add color and order to this track. We're going to keep the retro rock where it is. You'll see why later on, which is the drummer. This is the first element that we're going to be addressing. This is a loop. Listen to it. Okay, and you'll see that there is this section over here that is different. More on that later. For now, we're going to be color coding. So this is going to be a loop. The loop. Okay. Then X to bring up the mixer. Command C, Alt C, sorry, to bring the colors. And I will keep this guy like this, orange. And I'm going to keep it like that. Then we're going to select the bass, properly named already, and we're gonna just select once again Alt C, Option C for those of you who are rocking that kind of keyword, and I'm gonna turn it pulpy brown. But make sure that you do it on the mixer, because when you do it over here on the arrangement window, you only change the color of the region, not the color of your skin, not the color of the track. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Mariana, this is the first synthesizer. I'm gonna use something a little bit funkier, like this, dark blue. Again, look at that. The only thing that changed was the region, not the channel. So we're gonna do it again. We're gonna select this guy. I prefer that color over the other one. My guitars, these two guys are gonna be green. There it is. Alone, which is a pad. This is gonna be pad. And we're going to change the color of that guy to purple because of the rain. So we're going to select all of my regions, Command A, selecting everything, right click on any of the regions that you selected, color tracks by region. Thank you very much. Yes, look at that. Order. Very important. Look at that, even the special effects. Now, what to do next? From here onwards, I'm gonna make a loop. I'm gonna be looping back and forth over this, and if you don't know how to do it, easy. On Logic, you have your timeline here. You simply drag, click and drag for as long as you need, or for as much as you need. So I'm gonna make my loop region to be this big, okay? And we're gonna be playing the track back from the very beginning. But what's the point of this? I'm gonna be lowering every single one of my faders all the way down, and we're gonna be first creating some sort of a mix, so we can actually feel that the song makes sense volume wise. Okay, here we go from the top, and we're gonna be using this particular section because it's the busiest one on the track. Here we go. Okay, it sounds kind of in order, right? Now, first thing to do, the way that I like to look at music is I first analyze and organize the sound of my rhythmic section, the elements that keeps the group going. In this case, we got the drums, the loop, and the bass. So let's take a look at those guys first. I'm gonna mute everything that is not bass and drums and loop, of course. Here we go. Okay, don't you find something funky going on with the bass there? The sound of the bass, don't you find it funky? Not funky in the sense of being...
Yeah, because we want it funky actually.
Yes.
But in what way do you mean?
Listen to it again. Don't you find it boring?
Yes.
You know why?
Why?
Because this is the DI. Nothing has been done to it, actually.
Okay.
Nothing. Why I did it that way? Because I want to do it with you. The reason why I did it this way is because you should always have to develop the sound of your bass in context of in relationship to the sound of the kick drum. And we're going to be developing and shaping up the sound of our bass using our kick coming from the drum kit. Let's do it. How to do it? Easy. I'm gonna remove the mixer here, and we're gonna select our bass, and we're gonna insert the first plugin of the day, which is gonna be a bass sound simulator, a bass amplifier simulator. Over here, I'm gonna be using something super cool that I like to use as of late, which is Tonex. Tonex, for those of you who don't know, it's a very badass plugin slash pedal slash software that allows you to get captures of your amplifiers. Of course, once you have dialed up a proper sounding tone, you can actually capture it, then turn it into some form of file that can be used inside of your computer, for example, as what we're going to be doing here, or live on the stage by using Tonex pedals. Yes, and those are badass. If you want more, there's also some videos on which I disclose some of the uses for Tonex. And what are we going to be doing with this? I have a profile, which is the name or capture of my Fender Bassman, which I love to the T. And I'm gonna be using that bad boy. So how to do it? We're gonna go to my tone models, which by the way you can download for free as well. Link in the description of this video, it's already there. So we're gonna be looking for Marcus Labs. Bam! Because that guy is the one that I created using my my signal chain, the one that I like, which is involving my Sansamp, my rack version, Sansamp going into the Bassman, Fender Bassman, and it sounds super good. And of course, I gotta insert a cabinet speaker because we don't have any. So we can either use custom IRs or BIR. I'm gonna be using that one. But let's see, we're gonna go for something bass. We're gonna be using SBX, yeah, which is a gigantic 8x10 speaker cabinet. Let's see how it sounds like. Okay, let's see how it sounds in context. But let me explain what happened here with the BIR. BIR is basically speaking a plethora of different impulse responses, which is what IR stands for, that you can select, merge, and move around using the interface here. It's actually very powerful, and it actually allows you to change the microphones. In this case, we're using a combination between a condenser microphone, which is this orange microphone, the number one, and a dynamic 57, which you might imagine it might be a certain Shure microphone. And you can blend them in, one by one, or the other, or a mix between both. And you can increase the resonance point, which is adding a little bit of a resonance point to the sound of the cabinet. I'm going to be reducing it a little bit because I found it a little bit honky. And let's see how it fares now in context of the mix. Here we go. Okay, what do you think?
It's way better.
Way better, right?
Yeah, now it sounds.
But there is a little bit of muddiness to it, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a little bit bottom heavy.
Yes, we're gonna be addressing it. I'm gonna be first inserting a little bit of compression to the whole system here. We can do it inside of Tonex. It has a built-in compressor that it's very simple, but it's effective. Or we can do it using a much more elaborated compressor, which I think I might try, and I think I will. Let's do it. I'm gonna close this guy for now, and we're gonna insert another plugin in on top of our amp. Let's see. I'm gonna be looking for a dynamics compressor. Which one to use? We're gonna be using an optical compressor, and I'm gonna be using BX Opta. And you know what? There is even a pedal board version compatible of this guy. Let me see, Dynamics Opto, yes. It is actually quite good. I love it on bass. But there is perfect. Very simple. Let's see, here we go. I like it, but it feels a little bit honky, the sound of the bass. So we're gonna be now addressing the sound of the bass over here on Tonex. I'm gonna be playing a little bit of the built-in EQ. So we're gonna go straight to the EQ. Where is it? Advanced. Here we go. One thing that makes Tonex badass is that you can actually change the position of your EQ to be pre or post. What does that mean? If you have it pre, it would be like if you were using a EQ pedal in front of the amplifier, allowing you to shape the tone of your instrument before it hits the amp. Or you can use it post, which would be quite similar to what would happen if I put an EQ after Tonex. Since we can do it here like that, I'm gonna be switching to pre, because I would like to shape up a little bit the sound of my bass before it hits the amp. There is a little bit of moddiness happening in the mid range, so we're gonna be looking for this area, maybe 200, 300. Let's see, here we go. What do you think?
It's way better. No, I like that. How, when you remove that kind of nasal bit of honkiness, the sound first became more focused, and then I saw that you moved around. The attack got enhanced, and then I think you pushed the low end as well a little bit, made the whole thing feel a little bit thicker.
Rounder, yes, yeah. Thicker. Now there's a little bit of something that I don't like necessarily speaking yet. So what we're going to be doing is going to be a very traditional trick, which is having a duplicate of the bass. When tracking, you normally would have, I don't know why my camera's iffy, but whatever. You normally would, let me fix it, this is distracting me. Coming back, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it, it should be resetting. So you normally would, there it is, now. You normally would record a DI track and also an amplified version of the track, and you blend them both. Let's try it out. I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be duplicating this guy, my bass, but we're gonna be removing the Tonex completely. I'm gonna be adding something a little bit more warm sounding. Even I'm gonna remove the optical compressor that we applied, and we're gonna be adding a channel strip. What? Yes, we're gonna be using a channel strip. Which channel strip? This bad boy over here, Century channel strip. This is a very good sounding channel strip. It's very warm. It's very how can I put it? It's super super natural sounding, and we're gonna be rocking it like this. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna be inserting the preamp. We're gonna try to warm up the sound, and let me just for sake of continuity, we're gonna make sure this is DI. DI bass. Here we go. Perfect. And we're gonna be copying as well the content of the channel strip. I'm gonna be muting the bass right now, and we're gonna be listening to the DI. Okay, what do you think? Just by applying the channel strip by its own.
Actually, I'm surprised with how much impact it had. because of course I expected it had some form of impact, but
Super colorful,
this
right?
was by a lot, like
Yeah.
a big difference. It's
Yeah.
way more rounded, it's more colorful. It's simply a better sound in
Yep.
every way.
I think this is one of the best channel strips you can use for producing sounds, because it takes away a lot of the digital iffiness that comes from this kind of stuff. Very good. So I'm gonna try this section here. I'm gonna change the setting for the gain. Let's see if by switching to high we get a much more hotter signal, because I want to get a little bit of harmonic distortion. Nice.
Give me a second,
Go.
because I saw some red lights blinking. Isn't that forbidden?
No, this red light is good. This is the kind of red lights that you need and you want in your life. We're overloading the preamp. We're adding harmonic distortion. That's the point. And one of the good things about preamps is that when you crank them up correctly, you can actually begin to develop harmonic harmonic distortion that adds plenty of character, color, definition, and sometimes even changes the tone completely of the sound that you're rocking. That's why as soon as I turn it off, you got a different sound. So let's see. I'm gonna be applying now the EQ, and because I feel that even though we're getting a nice sounding tone, we lost a lot of the low end. So let's play around with it. Here we go. What do you think?
Not the spot racing. No, sounding quite good.
Very cool, right?
Like it, yeah.
Very cool. Now we're gonna be using the same channel strip, but we're gonna be applying the compressor, built-in compressor, to the sound of our bass. Ready? Here we go. Nice.
Quick question.
Go.
Because you mentioned early on this live stream that the point of this is actually getting the sounds good before the mixing stage.
Yes.
And now you're applying EQing and compression. Wouldn't those be considered already mixing? And also, how far would you push on EQing and compression, for instance, thinking about the fact that the song's still gonna be mixed afterwards?
What you're doing here, or what we're doing here, even though, that's a good question, by the way. Even though this song will be mixed, well, this is not even a song. Right now we got a musical phrase. This has the potential of becoming a song. So in my mind, and the way that I like to look at music when I'm writing stuff, if it's sounding already good, it inspires me to keep writing the rest. That's why it's very important for you to craft the sounds while you're producing the music, because you can get inspired. And one thing, the better it sounds as it is in this stage, the better it will sound once you get to the mixing stage, because you are already going to be delivering a good sounding set of instrumentations, of instruments, and the instrumentation will be coherent. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, makes sense. Thank
And
you.
EQs, compressors are not forbidden for tone crafting, because, well, in the guitar and bass world, we got plethoras of pedals that does EQing and compression, telling you and showing you that no, it's not forbidden for you to use those before the mixing stage. And EQs, compressors, and all sorts of circuits that you could be using while mixing are not exclusive to mixing, because you have seen me many times using reverbs mixing, and those are usually more sound design effects, right? So it's the same. Okay, now we got this here. Let's compare the DI with our bass sound. We're gonna be unmuting those guys, and I'm gonna be bringing back the sound of the amplifier into the mix. Here we go. Could you see the difference?
Well, in between the two different sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're quite complementary in nature, because you're getting one is providing a lot of the more pinpointed sound, a lot of more of the definition, and you're getting more of the roundedness and more of the full-bodied aspect of the bass sound from the other one.
Exactly. So that's the point. Let me check if we can do a little bit more on tonics. I'm gonna be using the depth. I'm gonna be pushing the depth a little bit, and I'm gonna be even daring to change the position of the EQ to post, because I wanna add a little bit more of bottom end. Here we go. As expected, we got a little bit of phase cancellation. How to address it? Easy. We're gonna be inserting a plugin here. And why is that happening? It's because we have the same signal coming at slightly different points in time. So we're gonna be doing something quite funky. We're gonna be inserting a very yeah, that one. No, a very specific. Let me find it. Specialized. A very specific plugin, Precision Timeline by Eventide. This is such a great plugin, because with this you can actually change by milliseconds the time for both of the different instruments that you're trying to match in phase while they're playing. So let's see. I'm gonna press play, and I'm gonna be switching the polarity, inverting the polarity of our DI bass. Let's see if it gets better. No, but you can see that we are not killing off the whole thing entirely. So what I'm gonna do, since I have the phase inverted, I'm gonna try to see if I can kill off the entirety of the tone of the sound of the bass as much as I can. So once I flip the phase and bring it back to its original, we're gonna get the proper timing for both. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Here we go. That could be potentially there. Let's see. That's right.
Very
Could
cool.
you tell the difference?
No, the difference is quite clear actually. I think especially on the not necessarily the super low end, but on the low end, I felt that a lot of the body was being killed off.
It was killed. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So that's why it was important for us to switch to change the polarity, not the polarity, to make sure that both of them are kind of aligned. This is something that happens even live when you're rocking on a stereo rig. For example, if you're playing the guitar, and you have two amplifiers going at the same time, you can actually have this problem with phase cancellation when one of the amplifiers is outputting or a little bit out of phase with the other, and that happens all the time. So you even need to have a polarity flip switch on the amp or on the box or on your splitter box, but that's a different tale. Now let's see how it fares now in context. We're gonna be adding both basses to the sound together. Here we go. Nice. Now the next stage, for now I think I'm kind of happy there, but I would like to add a little bit of extra fun to the sound of my loop. The loop sounds like this. This might be the reason why you were thinking on adding
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it makes sense when you bring the drums. Badass, right?
No,
The combination is super fun.
Quick question.
Go.
Because now you have two elements of rhythm, two drums going on,
Yes.
and they actually have very different feels to them.
Yeah.
Because the first one is a little bit more rock driven, it's straighter and more, it's a little bit more solid.
Yes.
And the other one is a little bit more on the groovy side of things, but also has that almost hip hop like element to it. Will you put one above the other? I mean, either on importance or even in volume, when it comes to the what do you expect out of this song in style?
Yes, of course. And the answer is the drums, the real drums, or the drummer would be the one on top. I see this loop as a percussion set, if that makes sense. It's adding a little bit of extra movement to the beat and adding grooviness to the whole sound. It's something that I like quite a lot, and it's not it's something that has been done in rock and roll since forever, man. And when I began writing this piece, I was thinking of Phil Collins because I was listening to Phil Collins yesterday. So I was thinking, yeah, something like that. So let's see what I'm gonna do with this. You can see that I had a gigantic EQ already on it. Why I put that guy there? When I was assembling the track or beginning with this musical phrase, I wanted to do that thing with the drums playing alongside a percussion, and I found this loop on the Logic built-in loop library, and I liked it. I dropped it in. I loved what it was doing, but see what happens if I remove this guy. Don't you find it messy?
Yeah.
As all hell?
Yeah, too much information.
Yeah, that's happening because the loop itself has a kick drum that is not necessarily going against the kick on the drums, but the drums I programmed them with a lot of swing, so it's not sharp on the beat, and this guy is. So through the use of this low cut, can you show them again? Through the use of the low cut, I am actually lowering down, if not killing off the entirety of the kick drum, the low end of the kick drum from the loop. Listen to it again. Here we go. We're gonna start off with it off, and then I'm gonna bring it back. We're only getting the attack of that kick drum, which feels like an extra. How can I put it? Like even a tiny percussive element that it's adding a little bit of more motion rather than feeling like a kick. Cool trick. So I did it because it was actually breaking my heart. But I wanted to show you that trick. Now, why on earth did I decide to go for something like this? Because low frequencies is where my problematic section frequency-wise coming out of that particular kick drum lies. So it's easy. Kill off everything. And how much? As much as you need in order to remove the stuff that is getting in the way of your sound. Easy. So don't be afraid of going nuts. For real, there is nothing wrong with this. For as long as you get a good sound, that's what matters. Of course, if you end up with something funky like this and then, okay, that could be a little bit difficult for you to explain. But this is normal, okay? Here we go. But what we're gonna do with this? I wanna add a little bit of distortion, make it a little bit more flavorful, if that makes sense to you. So we're gonna be using saturation. Look, even the names of my plugins. You got here Boss Magic, Creative, Pixie Dust, Track Magic. Which one do you feel?
Why don't you throw some pixie dust
Pixie
to it?
Dust, I was thinking the same. Let's try the Vitalizer. Yeah, that guy's good. Here we go. This thing is a mess, but it's fantastic. It's basically a distortion circuit that also has an EQ, but it's not an EQ. It's you're controlling the different points of saturation, frequency-wise. It's very, very cool. It has a very badass stereo field expander, and I want to get it. This is actually a recreation of a real box, and it's very, very good. Let's see what we can do with it. First and foremost, let's crank up this bad boy because I want to add grit to that sound. Think in terms of Depeche Mode, something like that. We're gonna, yeah, here we go. Okay, just by cranking up the gain to the top, what was the difference, Thiago?
Night and day, basically.
Insane, right?
Yeah. No, I actually can't remember seeing you using this guy before on the channel, but it sounds really good.
No, this guy used to be, before moving here, this guy was the equivalent to one of my boxes here. I use it to replace the color palette.
Ah, okay.
Because it adds that dirt to my master mix bus. I love it. That's why I want to get it, because this is insane, in my opinion, on the mix bus. But it also does marvels here. Let me show you once again the parameters. I simply cranked up all the way to 11. I haven't done anything yet.
Just like that.
Just like that. I was effing around with the bass, but I don't know if it's adding a little bit of anything because we cut off plenty of the bass before hitting this guy. Once again, here we go. I'm gonna be adding a little bit of the mid-tone, and adding a little bit of processing in looks to push the snare a little bit more. Here we go. The clap. Isn't it freaking awesome? God damn!
Quick question.
Go.
Because whenever we tend to think,
Yeah.
when we
Not a good thing to do, but whatever.
No, dangerous path to take.
Yeah.
No, but that you would use the more true to life elements, let's say, because you use saturation, but the many things you can use in sound to try to make it a little bit more true to life.
Yes.
To get a stale sound and make it more real life. But now we're talking about a kind of drum machine sound, which is already kind of a digital in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't the kind of sterility of the sound be kind of a part of it? Or you would go about it the same way as you would an acoustic drum sound, for instance?
It's part of the sound, that digital aspect to them, but it's usually, and I can assure you that 85% of times, it's something that you don't like. Because it feels boring to our human ears. Why do we like this thing just by turning it on and off? The same what happened to the Century channel strip. It's adding color. It's adding harmonics. It's what makes the difference between just getting this thing, dropping stuff in and recording it straight to the box, and the difference and how it sounds when you listen to a professionally produced track. I don't know if that makes sense. What we're doing with this is creating something fun sounding, because imagine yourself writing a track and you are dealing with stuff that sounds very boring. How can you expect yourself to be inspired by what you hear if what you hear is very lame? Even though the composition might be great, but if the sound is not there, you're not gonna feel excited to keep pushing. Don't know if it makes sense.
No, it does. Yeah, it makes sense.
So let's see how it fares now with in context, then in relationship to the drums with the plugin in. Man, even the snare got fatter.
Yeah.
Because the clap takes place quite at the same point on which the snare hits, and since we got this beautiful saturation on the snare, on the clap, you go like, tough, right? Awesome. One thing, you saw me docking down the output of my SPL video vitalizer, because by cranking up the gain, of course, we rose up the perceived loudness of our signal. So I compensated by docking the output a little bit down, so it preserved, it kind of matched the level that we had before applying the plugin. Super important, very important. Let's play around with the stereo expander. Let's see if we can make it a little bit wider. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, it dies. Here we go. What do you think?
The song grew, and it's not even the song, because it's just the rhythm at this point in time. But still, it's just it filled up more space.
Feels way better, right? Yeah. Oof. Let's bring back the bass. Now I feel that I could add a little bit more distortion to my bass. Let's see. Didn't like it. But not because it was doing it. It's not because the plugin sucked. It's because this thing is already working as it is. By pushing the level, everything that follows after is reacting differently. So didn't like it. How to address it? We insert an extra distortion plugin. Let's do it. We're gonna go once again to my distortion. Buzz Magic, no. Pixie Creative, maybe. Yeah, we're gonna go Creative. Which one to use? Let's try. Should we try Spice Rack?
Why not?
Yeah, Spice Rack. Here we go. It's a very cool plugin, and will allow us to even add a little bit of extra control over the sound. We're gonna be using what kind of circuit? Let's try Tube. Here we go. Bass, DI bass by itself. What do you think?
Really cool. The bass gained quite a lot of character,
Yes.
and I think even because of the extra bit of saturation, it's blending better.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Let me explain what happened, girls and boys. Over here on Spice Rack, this is a very cool a very cool concept. You got a very badass first selection of different saturation circuits. I went for tube because it's simulating the sound of valves, tubes, preamps, like an amplifier or a bass amplifier, or a very smooth sounding preamp on a cool sounding circuit. You can control the amount of saturation by pushing this drive knob. First, I like always go for the hardest hitting just to see if the sound I could get out of it could be useful or not. It was clearly way too much, so even though I backed off this a lot, it didn't make the cut. So I brought it back. Then I am using the wet blend over here, and I'm using just 22% of the overdriven signal because I wanted to preserve the clean. And by using the EQ here, we can actually control how the whole saturation is taking place, making it an extra layer of sculpting, if you wish. Badass. So let's see how it fares now with the rest of the mix. I'm gonna bring in the pad for now. Let's see. From the top. What do you think?
Well, where am I? The way that the bass is interacting with the drums now is way better. They feel a little bit more glued together,
Yes,
more like they're working in tandem.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing that I did here while the track was playing, can you show them there, please? I went back to my loop and inserted this filter, which is applying a gentle jet, kind of intense cut, high cut or low pass on the hi-hats of my loop because it was kind of overbearingly loud. Let me play it back to you and let me show you. I'm gonna be bringing in and out, okay? Pay attention to the hi-hats. Way smoother, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of loud. Now, let me see how much time we have left. It's almost done. Look at that. I'm gonna be applying a little bit of je ne sais quoi to the loop. We're gonna be using micro pitch. What? Yes, we're gonna be using micro pitch. Let me find it first. It's modulation. Yeah, thank you very much. We're pitch shift, of course. Micro pitched. Micro shift. Let's try micro pitch first. Here it is. This guy is 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 100% 1 let's see. Again. Don't you love it?
It works already.
Yeah, out of the box. Let me explain what's happening. You can see here that we got mix. It's a blend, of course. When you have it 100%, it's just the effect going. 0, nothing. Just the dry sound. Mix pitch, a pitch mix. More on that later. Over here, this is where the show begins. We got the pitched shifting engines. You got 2. One goes upwards in pitch and one goes downwards in pitch. But what makes it different from a regular harmonizer or pitch shifting device, this does it in micro intervals. Tiny cents of shifting. One is detuning upwards and the other one is detuning downwards. And both of them are playing in tandem at this stage. What's the trick? By having those guys going like that, one a little bit detuned and the other going a little bit detuned, when you blend in the dry sound, you start to get a wider, much more fun and engaging sounding stereo image. That's why as soon as I just dial back the right amount of the mix correctly, but not only that, you can see here that we got a delay. We are delaying the pitch that goes downwards 96 milliseconds. So we got a little bit of a delay effect. It kicks in 96 milliseconds after the sound went through, adding yet more dimensionality and making it sound even bigger than it already does. We can do something extra. Since we're delaying the signal, we can actually create a delay effect out of it by incrementing the feedback. Let's see. Working, but let's see if by syncing it to the tempo it's better. Let's see. Not bad. What do you think?
No, I like quite a lot what the feedback is doing because it's kind of smoothing out, especially the action on the hi-hat.
Yeah.
And it's making it almost feel like a bit of a shaker.
Yeah,
kind of. And since you're using this loop as almost kind of like a percussion set, I think it's fitting.
Oof. Yep. Let's see how it fits with the rest. That's so good.
Like it.
Super cool, right?
Yeah.
So we are basically coming to the end of this live stream. So Thiago, what do you think so far? Because I think this is one of the first times that you are here while I'm doing something like this. Don't you find this different?
Yeah, the thing is that it's quite interesting to see sounds being looked at in this way, even before hitting the mixing stage. And it makes perfect sense because the better you get it at this point in time, whenever you actually hit the mixing, not only is it going to be easier, but it's going to deliver better results as well. But it's a different approach because even though a lot of the background coming out of mixing could be applied to this as well, it's a different take on the whole matter of getting things to sound good.
Yeah, because the thing is that we're now doing something akin to sound crafting. Mm-hmm. This is sound design. This is a completely different set of tools and completely different approach to music creation. Mm-hmm. Because music production, because this is not just composing. This is developing sounds that inspires you to keep writing and developing the song at its full potential. It's very important to do, especially at the beginning of the very early beginnings of the early stages of the writing process, because at least in my opinion, if you start off with a very solid foundation and something that keeps you motivated to keep writing, you push yourself to add more and develop the sound of the song to its full potential. Uh, it's kind of counterintuitive if you come from a mixing background, because you're like, why am I already chasing the sound of the mix even though I'm not even there yet? We're not mixing, even though we could you could make the argument that what I'm doing is already making the instruments make sense between each other sound wise. We're not mixing the sound, we're not mixing the song, sorry, we are creating sounds that together create a beautiful composition. And the better the interaction, the better the synchronicity between those instruments, the cooler the sound will be, the more exciting as composers we will get, and the more fun we're gonna have, and the more enjoyment we're gonna have while developing the song, which will in turn deliver a much better sounding, goddammit, song. Thank you. That was kind of hard for me to say, but whatever. So yeah, this marks the end of this live stream, girls and boys. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned, because we're gonna be live streaming this show for now onwards during this timetable. I hope it's not getting in the way of anybody. We're still testing stuff, and we are being frank with you. We are having troubles with the outreach on YouTube for entirety of this year. Our growth has been terrible, but the worst ever in history. The plan was to reach, at least on YouTube, 10,000 subs. We are stuck in 4,000 something. Why? Because we simply stopped growing. The algorithm is not pushing us forward as it used to do, and we are trying stuff in order to change that situation. That's also why we are now, from now onwards, gonna take Rumble seriously 100%. So for those of you who are already on Rumble or watching on YouTube, please subscribe to us on Rumble, because it seems that YouTube is not giving any damn about promoting new stuff that is not authoritative. Look at that.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. If you like to support this kind of content, and if you want to keep the lights on this dubious organization, the best way to do it is by listening to our music on Apple Music or Spotify, and also by following us on social media such as Instagram and X, because that's the best way for you to get in touch with us on a much more personal basis. Now, girls and boys, the only thing left to be said is that you should never let anybody tell you what to dream about, and remember that we will see you when we see you.